Hi everyone, James Mackay here from Barbechoo.com, and today we are going to be cooking up the maple bacon weaved pork tenderloin with the chorizo and apple stuffing from the HangFire cookbook. So this is the first cook I've done on the channel in a little while, and it's actually the first one I've done in this shack too, so hopefully it all goes to plan. I've made a few things from the HangFire cookbook before. There's definitely some great recipes in it, sort of some traditional American recipes, plus some of their sides are amazing. So there'll definitely be more from this book in the future on the channel, but I figured this was a good one to start with, plenty of nice flavours in it. If you want to check out the book, there's a link for it down in the description, and I'll give you the full details of the recipe we're cooking today. So as far as prep goes for this recipe, the first thing you want to do is make up your rub. Now this uses the HangFire almost all-purpose rub. So to start off with, the first thing you want to do is toast off the cumin seeds and the fennel seeds. So add them to a dry pan over a medium heat and toast them off. Then add them into a pestle and mortar and grind them down, or you can use a food processor if you want, but I opted for the manual labour version. So once that's ground down to a fine powder, you want to go ahead and add your fine sea salt, paprika, soft light brown sugar, garlic granules, onion powder, black pepper, chipotle chili powder, celery salt, and ground allspice. And give that all a mix together and add it into a shaker and leave it to the side. You're going to be using that later on before you put the tenderloin onto the smoker. So next up, you want to prepare the stuffing. First up, you want to dice an eating apple and add it into a pan with a little bit of butter just to soften it down. Once that becomes soft or starts to soften, you can add in some brown sugar and start to caramelize that all together. Then remove it from the pan and leave it to the side while you get the chorizo side of the stuffing ready. So to get the chorizo ready, you need to remove the skins from it because we're going to break this up into a stuffing. So take the skins off the chorizo, cut it up into sort of rough chunks and add it into that same pan you've done your apples in. After a few minutes, the oil will have seeped out of that chorizo, so you want to go ahead and remove that so the actual finished stuffing isn't too greasy. So lift the chorizo out of the pan and take it in and tip that excess fat out. The chorizo can then go back into the pan along with some diced onion, garlic and a little bit of fresh thyme. You cook that all together until the onions have softened down nicely. Then the apples can be added back into the pan, give it all a quick mix and then lift it off and let it cool. So as it's a stuffing going into a raw tenderloin, you want that to cool down before you add it into the meat. So the nice thing about cooking a pork tenderloin is it doesn't need a lot of preparation. So the tenderloin I was using today was from Hillstown Farm Shop. I'll leave a link to their Instagram and website in the description. So there wasn't a lot to do to it. I just removed some of the excess fat and a little bit of the silver skin, and then one of the ends was very thin, so I squared it off a little bit just to try and help it to cook a little bit more even. So once you've any trimming done, then go ahead and make the pocket for the stuffing to go inside. So just use a sharp knife, run along the side of the tenderloin and be careful not to puncture the whole way through. You only want to open up enough of a pocket that will let the stuffing sit inside it. So before you add the stuffing to the tenderloin, you want to go ahead and make up your bacon weave. This is one of I think my first or second attempt at making a bacon weave, so I haven't quite mastered the skill yet, so don't hate me in the comments section for how useless it was. But do your best to get it as tight as possible. Let's say if you follow the instructions in the video, and definitely with the recipe they give good instructions on how to do the weave as well. So do your best to get it as tight as possible on a sheet of cling film so you can move it about easily, and it also helps you then wrap it around the tenderloin. So next you want to open up that pocket in the tenderloin and add your cooled stuffing to the inside of it. Try and pack as much in there as you can without it actually becoming overfilled. The last thing then is to wrap that bacon weave around the tenderloin. So use the cling film, apply a little bit of pressure to it and roll it across the tenderloin, trying to seal in that pocket of stuffing. And before you let the tenderloin see the smoke, the last thing to do is to apply the rub you made earlier. So give it a nice liberal coating over the entire tenderloin. There'll be some nice flavour that'll help crisp up the bacon a little bit too. So as far as smoker setups go, I'm using the 47cm Weber Smoky Mountain. I'm using the premium restaurant grade lumpwood charcoal from Direct Charcoal. Again, leave links in the description for that. This is the first cook I've actually done with this lumpwood in the Smoky Mountain, so I was quite pleased with how it's performed so far. So let your smoker come up to temperature. The recipe says around 225 Fahrenheit, so I aim for that range of sort of 110 to 120 Celsius. Don't be too fussy about it, somewhere in that range should be fine, so don't worry about dialing in that exact temperature. So once your temperatures are set and steady, go ahead and place the tenderloin onto the cooking grate and close the lid. Then the last thing to do is add a chunk of cherry wood to it. The recipe suggests cherry, apple or maple, but I opted for cherry. It's one of my favourite woods and I especially love it with pork, so that's the one I went for this cook. Tenderloin has been on the smoker for around 2.5 hours now, so we're getting there quite close to the finishing temperature of 75 degrees. So the last thing to do then is to brush on a sort of mixture of maple syrup and cracked black pepper onto the bacon weave, and then we'll leave that for sort of 20 minutes, half an hour, let that set up. So you can already see we've got quite a nice colour on it already from that cherry wood and the rub. So just going to go ahead now and brush on the maple syrup glaze. Just try and get all around all sides of it. I'm going to put the lid back on and let that come up to temperature and give that glaze a chance to set. So once the tenderloin has reached an internal temperature of 75 degrees C, it's important that you lift it off and let it rest for a little while. So you can let it hang out for 15-20 minutes, just loosely tint it with foil and leave it be. I know you want to eat it right now, but leave it be. Okay, we've been resting for about 15 minutes, so it is now time to carve into it and see how we've done. Get rid of that. So I think we'll go in. There's two, this in here is a little bit thinner. This is a fatter end, so we'll go for the fatter end. Of course your slit doesn't go all the way to the ends, this is why there's such little stuffing in here. I'm a little bit surprised the bacon weave's holding together so well. So you can sort of see we've got a nice little bit of smoke ring even through the bacon weave. We're stuffing there with the apple and chorizo and onion. It's all softened down nicely. Still nice and moist. So I think we're going to plate some up and try it. So let's give it a try. I get a bit of everything. the stuffing is actually a lot sweeter than I thought it was going to be. I knew the caramelised apples would make it sweet, but it was definitely the flavour from the chorizo and the onion as well. I sort of taken on that sugary flavour from the apple. I suppose that's why you add the chorizo and onion back into the pan that you've done the apples in. There's still that sort of residue of the caramel there, so that's really nice and sweet, and sweetness goes really well with pork, so that's really nice. The rub on the outside too really comes through. The sweetness from the maple syrup glaze is there, but you can still taste the rub really well through it. I thought maple syrup would maybe have overpowered everything, but nope, that one is definitely a winner. So if you want to check out the recipe in full, go and buy the book. It says the HangFire Cookbook. I've left all the links in the description below for it if you want to go and check it out and have a look at it. Definitely give this a try. This one again, I like sort of sweet flavours with pork, and this one's definitely going to be a favourite from now on. So check it out. Hope you give this a go. Let me know if you like the recipe or the cook, or if you find it helpful. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. There are going to be more cooks coming in future, and I'll see you in the next episode.